It's my great pleasure to invite on stage Eitan Bienstock. Is actually one of the main reasons why we're all here. Eitan is Director of Global Growth at ATP Innovations. And Eitan, take over.
So welcome everybody, great to see you here. It's a busy week for cybersecurity in Australia. I think there's about 4 different events happening between Sydney and Canberra. But we are very pleased you made it to this one. I think we have the most comprehensive program actually. So I'm happy just to kick off and go over a few things. First I want to start with everything IoT and why we started that and what it's all about. So I'm from Israel originally. I spent many years working there. My first job was actually working for Intel. Intel has a very major operation in Israel. And I, 20 years ago, was given the task to start Intel Incubator in Israel. And that program, basically, through that program, we helped many dozens of Israeli companies to commercialize their innovations and help them distribute it globally. That's 20 years ago. That was at the time the Checkpoint, famous, one of the pioneer of security or cybersecurity, went IPO with NASDAQ, and we had a few other very successful Israeli companies. I mentioned that because I think Australia is somewhat at that stage now, where we have Atlassian, we have a few successes, and we are all trying to figure out how we're going to really scale it up. So everything IoT was really created with the purpose to turn Australia into a global IoT innovator or leader. And the idea is let's focus our effort in IoT. IoT is a huge area of growth in many years to come. And if we, like Israel, for example, focus over many decades, there was agriculture in the 60s, there was semiconductors, then there was the communication, then cybersecurity, and a few other areas that Israel always managed to put a lot of emphasis in. I think if we in Australia put emphasis on IoT, we definitely can become a leader. So our mission, we call it to propel Australia IoT innovation. So we do everything we can to actually help grow Australia early stage IoT companies. And we basically have 3 strategic pillars by which we are achieving that goal. The first one is IoT bespoke events, conferences. We had a very successful event in October last year where we had 250 people. We had corporates like Intel, Cisco, AWS, KPMG, and many others joining us as our partners. We had 10 of the best IoT startups in Australia presenting and pitching. We had government representatives, and we had universities. So we intend to keep those 4 stakeholders representing in all our events to come. And I'll go over a few what we are planning for this year shortly. The other strategic pillar that we are engaging is the IoT, or facilitating of IoT centers, innovation centers and programs. And I go over one very exciting that we helped start just last week. The third one is funding. So all good, but we need funding for that. Startup needs financing, and we are definitely helping in that as well. So just to go over what we achieved in 6 months, very briefly, we had that one big conference that I mentioned. We called it Everything IoT 2015, and that's really created a momentum and a focus in Australia. And as a result of that, we managed to create a very strong community. The second thing that happened, as I mentioned last week, is that Innovation Central Sydney. This is a one-of-a-kind, unique, a collaborative IoT innovation center that we launched in ATP Innovation just last month. It's a Cisco-led IoT innovation. They do those innovation centers all over the world. The difference in Australia, it's not just Cisco. There are 7 funding partners to that center. They are UNSW, ATP Innovations, Department of Primary Industries, Data 61, and 2. One is the New South Wales and Federal Farmer Federations. Now, farmer federations, because This center particularly will focus on agriculture, on smart cities and transport. Those are the main industries that we're going to look to help, although we will do any other IoT innovation as well, but this is the focus. So the third achievement is that ability. We actually created a community around us. We have about 2,000 people in our database and a strong follow-up on social media. So for this year, we have a very exciting program. We are looking to have actually five events. Of course, today it's the first one, the kickoff. In 2 months, we're going to have a smart city forum where we look at innovation in smart buildings, smart cities, and smart countries, I guess. Agriculture, where we're going to look at how we can double the yield of agriculture in Australia in 10 or 20 years. So the term of Australia being the football of Asia, it's something that represents a strong opportunity to Australia, and IoT definitely can accelerate that. The big event that we're going to have in August, that will be the summit, and that will include both industrial IoT as well as consumer IoT. We're going to have large expo areas, and we're going to have both corporate and startup presenting there. And the last event, which is tied up to the summit, is what I'm announcing now. We haven't announced it yet. It's going to be a Everything IoT Funding Cup. And that's our effort to, in a new way, help IoT companies get funded. So we'll be looking at bringing VCs and angel investors to meet the best IoT companies that Australia has to offer. So as we focus today on security, I want to start with a story, a very quick story. So a guy named Andy Greenberg drove his Jeep Cherokee on a sunny day in August last year. And suddenly during his drive, he realized that the sound system or the song that was playing in his car has suddenly changed. He actually quite liked the new song, but he then realized also that the windshield wipers started to work. And he thought, it's quite sunny, why do I need a windshield wiper working? Soon after, what he realized wasn't that entertaining is the fact that his accelerator was not reacting. So he got quite scared. And later on, when he was quoted what actually had happened, that's what he said. He said, as I frantically pressed the pedal and watched the RPMs climb, the Jeep lost half its speed, then slowed to a crawl. This occurred just as I reached a long overpass with no shoulder to offer and escape. The experiment has ceased to be fun. So that was indeed an experiment. It was an experiment that he ran together with two cybersecurity experts. And basically what happened, those two experts managed to wirelessly hack not only his entertainment system in the car and his wiper windshield, they actually managed to take control of the acceleration as well as the brake. So that was quite scary, obviously, for him, and he ended up actually in a ditch. He didn't get hurt, but he ended in a ditch, not being able to stop the car. As a result, the Fiat Chrysler automobiles, who make the Jeep, they had to recall 1.4 million vehicles. I'm sure that wasn't a cheap exercise for them. But after they investigated what actually had happened, they came with this statement, which is an amazing one. They said, no defect has been found. So the problem here is that the awareness. There is a strong lack of awareness on both consumers and corporates on the risks that involve in Internet of Things and being everything connected. So that's one of the things we're going to definitely deal with today. So the challenge is, one of the challenges, but the key challenges is that for 25 years, we IT specialists and cybersecurity companies, we all looked at how we protect privacy, how we deal with closed networks, how we deal with IT in corporates, but now it's totally different game. Now we have to deal with the open internet and with billions and billions of devices that are all connected, and some of them are autonomous as well. So that's really a challenge for the industry, and we need to get solution very quickly. We don't have 25 years. We need a few years to sort it out. So that has major impacts. It has an impact on pacemakers that are going to be connected to the cloud. Of course, nuclear reactors, that everything is connected as well there. So security is really the foundational enabler for the acceptance of the Internet of Things. And this is why we want to start the year with cybersecurity, everything IoT cybersecurity. To finish off, I'm sure many of you are familiar with the Gartner technology hype graph. That kind of rate where different technology trends are in their cycle. Internet of Things is at the top of the cycle just a few months ago. They're still at the top. And to me, the challenge in how we actually, so we're going to go through a ditch. We're going to go through a lot of companies that actually have to close down, and applications that are found not really attractive. How do we monetize IoT, and how we shorten the time to money? So the longer it will take us to figure that out, all those trillions that are quoted, like $9 trillion economic value in 5 years, are going to get postponed and obviously not be beneficial. So that's really the challenge here. So today's goal is, as I mentioned, to raise the awareness, to have a better understanding what are the risks in IoT, what are security risks in IoT. And as we do that, the implementation will definitely be faster, and the adoptions as well. So with that, I want to leave the stage to the distinguished guests and speakers and panelists that we have today. I just want to thank our sponsors that really give us great support. They partner with us throughout the whole year. ATP Innovation, where I part of, and Santa is part of, they bought the idea from day one and really give us all the support. KPMG and Chris McLaren is here, gave us great support from day one, as well as Cisco, Intel, UTS hosting us here today and last year. Alex Group, Simon is here, a great support, and the Trade Commission, Israel Trade Commission, Richard here, thank you for that. And the Propeller, last but not least, Cameron from Propeller. Thank you all, and I'll leave it to you, Sandra. Thank you.